In this video, we'll cover 3 patterns that you can use to play Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay, 1 strumming pattern and 2 finger-picking patterns. So you can choose just one of these patterns to play throughout the entire song, or you can alternate between patterns. Throughout this lesson, I'll be playing my tenor with low G tuning. Now if you have high G tuning, you can follow this entire lesson. Just keep in mind that your 4th string is 1 octave higher than mine, so the patterns will sound a bit different on your instrument, particularly the finger-picking patterns, but they still sound beautiful with high G tuning. After the lesson, I hope you'll join me for a play-along where I'll play and sing through the entire song, demonstrating all 3 patterns. Now let's get started by looking at how to play the chords in this song. Our first chord is G. Here we're playing the 2nd fret of strings 1 and 3 with our middle and index fingers, and the 3rd fret of the 2nd string with our ring finger. Then we have B7. For B7, we're playing the 2nd fret of the 2nd string with our index finger, 3rd fret of the 3rd string with our middle finger, and 4th fret of the 4th string with our ring finger. Then we have our C chord, which is the 3rd fret of the 1st string. You can play this either with your ring finger or with your pinky, whichever is more comfortable to you. Then we have A. For A, we have our index finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd string and our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And then we have our most difficult chord, which is E. For E, we have our index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, and then we're going to place our pinky, ring finger, and middle finger on the 4th fret of strings 2, 3, and 4. And then we have our F chord. For F, we have our index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And then we go to D. Now for D, you can keep your middle finger in place and place down your ring finger and your pinky on the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 2. Or if you find it more comfortable, then you can use your index, middle, and ring fingers to play this chord. Next, we'll take a look at our 3 patterns. Now each of these patterns consists of 4 beats, so the patterns are interchangeable. Now let's take a close look at how to play the patterns and how to apply them to the song. Now let's take a look at our strumming pattern on a C chord. This pattern is made up of 4 down strums, but the 2nd down strum is more of a percussive strum rather than a full down strum, so I've indicated that with a lowercase d. So here's how we count the rhythm of this strum at a slow tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Our first strum is on beat 1, and then on beat 2 we have our short percussive strum. And here you might only catch the 4th string or the 4th and 3rd strings. And this is okay because the purpose of this strum is really to capture the rhythm rather than the notes from all 4 strings. Then we have our next down strum on the and after beat 2, and then our final down strum is on beat 4. So putting this together at a slower tempo, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and at a faster tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to apply this pattern 1 time to every chord in the verses and the chorus. So taking a look at verse 1, we start on our G chord, then we go to B7, and then in line 2 we go to C, and then to A. lines 3 and 4 are played the exact same way as lines 1 and 2. So here's how we count the rhythm of lines 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's add in the lyrics for the first two lines. Sittin' in the morning sun, I'll be sittin' when the evening comes. You can continue applying this pattern one time to every chord in the remaining verses and the chorus. If you're enjoying this lesson, I would love to hear from you in the comments, and it really does help my channel if you give this video a thumbs up. Your support here on YouTube and on Patreon enable me to focus full-time on my channel, creating new arrangements and tutorials for you. So if you're interested in tabs or song sheets, then head on over to my Patreon page. You'll find the link down below in the video description. Now here's pattern 2, our first finger picking pattern on a C chord. Here we're playing strings 4 down to 1 with our thumb, index finger, middle finger, and ring finger. And then we're going back to string 3 with our index finger, and we're finishing on string 2 with our middle finger. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you can start practicing this pattern at a slow tempo and eventually increase the speed. Now we're going to apply this pattern the same way as pattern 1, one time to each chord in the verses and the chorus. So let's look at verse 1, starting on G, and then going to B7, and then in line 2 we go to C, and then to A. Lines 3 and 4 are played the exact same way. So let's count out the rhythm of lines 1 and 2 using this pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now adding in the lyrics to the first two lines. Sittin' in the morning sun, I'll be sittin' when the evening comes. And just like pattern 1, you can apply this pattern one time to all the chords in the remaining verses and choruses. Now let's look at pattern 3. This pattern uses the same rhythm as pattern 2, but we're playing more notes in this pattern, so it has a fuller sound. We're starting by picking strings 1, 2, and 3 together with our ring, middle, and index fingers. Then we'll pick the 4th string with our thumb, then the 3rd string with our index finger, and then strings 1, 2, and 3 together once again, and then we'll go back to the 4th string, and then we'll finish on the 3rd string. Here's how we count the rhythm of this pattern at a slow tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. As you practice this pattern, start off at a slow tempo and eventually increase the speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now remember that our patterns are interchangeable, so we can apply this pattern one time to each chord in the verses and the chorus, just like patterns 1 and 2. So looking at verse 1, starting on our G chord, and then going to B7, and then to C, and then to A. lines 3 and 4. Here's how we count the rhythm for the first two lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now adding in the lyrics. Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes. Now the bridge of the song is played a bit differently than the verses and the chorus. So let's take a close look at how to play the bridge. For the bridge, we have many chords that are held for only 2 beats rather than 4 beats. And these chords are indicated in bold. So this includes all of the chords on the first 3 lines. For these chords, if we're strumming the song, we're going to play 1 down strum. And if we're finger picking the song, then we'll pick all 4 strings together. So looking at line 1, we'll start on G, then we'll go to D, then to C, and then back to G. So we'll count this as 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you're finger picking the song, then you'll pick all 4 strings on each chord, starting with G, then D, then C, and then back to G. So here we'll count it as 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Lines 2 and 3 of the bridge are played the exact same way as line 1. And then in line 4, we have an F chord and then a D chord that are each held for 4 beats. So we can apply any of our 3 patterns to these 2 chords. So here's how pattern 1 will sound on line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then pattern 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then pattern 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you'd like to whistle the outro of the song, you can go back and forth between G and E 4 times. You can play any of the 3 patterns on each chord, or you could also play just 1 down strum or pick all 4 strings to make it a bit easier. My favorite way to play the outro is to apply pattern 2 to each chord, but you can choose any of these options. Next, we're moving into our play along. Now I'm going to alternate between patterns 1, 2, and 3, and you'll see on the screen which pattern I'm playing for the different sections. If you prefer, you can choose just one pattern to play throughout the entire song. 5, 6, 7, 8. Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and then I watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. tutorials, see this playlist here. Have fun practicing, and thanks for watching.